Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Not Another FPL podcast. James and I are back. It's game week 30. It's been the international break, and we are ready and raring to go. James, how have you been, and how did you get on in game week 29?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I've been doing well, thank you, mate. And yeah, well, 29 obviously was the blank game week. Um, so for me, it was just kind of get it out the way and crack on after the international week. But I went dunk. That was my only transfer, and I rolled my other transfer, so I got two for this game week. But yeah, he done the business, got me 6 points. Had 8 players, but 3 1 drops from the Villa boys, obviously Dallas, but for me, the standouts were obviously Bamford, Rafinha, and Kane. That ticked me along. So yeah, mate, in the top million now, 44 points, and moving on to the home straight. How are you getting on?
Top Millie, Meek Millie. Yeah, wasn't too bad actually. You had a few more players than I did. I limped in with a semi and only had 6 players. But I had a last
Yeah.
minute decision to captain Rafinha over Kane, something which is telling me to go for it.
Mm.
And fortunate enough for me, that was the difference between winning Manager of the Month and bagging the cash prize in the mini league to your old man who was in second place, just by a point. So can't really, say too much about it other than that I was a bit lucky because I think second place had Bale who didn't come on, and
Yeah, he brought in. He said he
you
brought
know,
in Bale instead of Lucas, and
yeah, there
we
you
all
go.
know Bale didn't play, and then Lucas done the business, didn't he? So and you ended up being in by, like you said, just the 1 point, and that would have been back-to-back manager of the months from the old man in the mini league. But yeah, he's absolutely gone now. No chips left. He's been done by 1 point, and you've obviously been wired the money into your account. So well done, mate. On behalf of that.
Thank
Sorry,
you,
carry
mate.
on.
And like I say, yeah, well, thanks for that. And like I say, I can't really say much about it. I feel like I was really fortunate to get manager of the month at the end of the day. I think actually going into it, there was like 3 or 4 managers who could have won it. So it just come down to luck at the end of the
It's a
day.
short month though, when it was a real short month, so I think that's why
But I
it was a
think
bit of a
in the grander scheme of things, I think 44 points and only having 6 players was probably one of my
I
best
know.
average game weeks ever.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
true.
happy with that.
Yeah,
So
happy
with no
days.
further stuff, what are you thinking then for game week 30? I'll just get the fixtures up. No messing about. What's the crack?
Right, well, first of all, I've got just a question for you, mate. Obviously, I've got two transfers. I brought in Dunk for one game week. Now I'm looking at bringing in one of your boys for Chelsea in defence. And I genuinely do not know who to get. It's out of three for me. Um, And yeah, I wanted to know your opinion on this. I either want to go Aspilicueta, Rudiger, or Alonso. Now, who do you think starts for West against West Brom, and who is a regular star at the back?
Well, yeah, I think Chelsea first and foremost they are looking really good. I don't think anyone imagined Tuchel would come in and hit the ground running. It's very rare for a manager to do that. Um, Obviously, he had a couple of games where we didn't lose. We were just playing sort of mediocre football, but over the last 3, 4 game weeks, they're really starting to establish themselves as a team, and we're really starting to see why the Chelsea hierarchy did pull the trigger
Mm.
for Lampard and get rid of him. And the change has just been immense. I mean, we barely
Yeah, it's
conceded
been
a goal,
unbelievable
which is just which is
defensively.
dirty to be honest. Considering we've got Aspilicueta, who's
Mm.
now a regular starter again. He's the senior player back in the team. He's probably had one of the most minutes at the back. We've got
Yeah,
Rudiger, who's come out off the back burner. He's turned his flame up, and now he looks solid, and he looks like he's maybe Tuchel's number one centre back.
yeah,
Um, Left back is a bit harder. I know you mentioned Alonso there. For me, Alonso's one of those players. When he plays, he looks like he's going to get loads of points, whether it's assists, whether it's goals. But
yeah,
if you look, I think in the last 4 game weeks, he's played 90 minutes once. That's starting, and finishing the game. So he's
mm.
only played once out of the last 4. So for me, I've got the same idea. I've got Dunk. Um, Dunk's around 5 million.
Yeah.
I wanted to look at the longer picture and maybe upgrade a midfielder because I've got 2 free transfers. But if I was doing a straight swap, I think I'd be taking Dunk out for Rudiger.
So you think Rudiger's Tuchel's number one centre back ahead of Christensen, Zuma, and Thiago Silva?
I do. Well, it's interesting you say that because Thiago Silva hasn't been fit under
Yeah.
Tuchel
Okay.
yet,
Yeah.
and he
Okay.
showed enough enthusiasm in the stands, cheering and demanding the centre backs. I'd imagine Rudiger would keep his position, and also I think Rudiger's the biggest goal scoring threat at centre back. I mean, from corners he does like a header, um, and I would be swaying towards Rudiger.
It's interesting. So yeah, my only opinion with Alonso is that Chilwell played last night for England against Poland, and it seems like it's a bit of an easy game they've got against West Brom. I think they're absolutely shocking. So I think that's why he might play Alonso this week, and then he might play Chilwell in the Champions League next week. Obviously, sorry, midweek. So that's why I think Alonso was a sort of semi-punt. I do think obviously Chilwell was more of a regular starter, but again, I think these players are actually quite expensive, and I do want to kind of limp in with the Chelsea defence and hop on maybe one of the cheaper ones, either Christensen, Rudiger, of the like, and then maybe even double up. I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, well, I just want to say though, I think I actually disagree with you with the whole Alonso Chilwell debate. I think what was happening in, say, the first 4, 5, 6 games under Tuchel, I think he didn't really know who was the best left back, and I don't think he really know what the best system was. I mean, we saw Callum Hudson-Odoi playing right wing back. We've seen him play up
Mm,
front. We've seen him play behind the striker, and it's a bit like when Tuchel first come back. I think he wanted that safeness, if you want to put it that way, of playing a formation and the players that fitted it, rather than taking maybe the best player. I think Chilwell's definitely the player
yeah,
start
yeah,
left back going
yeah.
forward.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Um, yeah, and I just think now we're looking at a Chelsea team that looks, I wouldn't say set because there's still positions up for grabs, but there's definitely players that look like they're in the team now. And I think
Mm,
Chilwell, hopefully, is one of those players. Now, getting on to the double up or even the triple up, I mean, what they got next? They've got 3 really good fixtures: West Brom at home, Palace away, who are struggling, and Brighton at home.
Brighton, yeah.
But they don't blank either in 33. So I mean, Tuchel could easily get 3 clean sheets there. And
Mm.
and if they do, the double up or the triple up on Chelsea defenders is going to
Triple.
be huge for your
Yeah,
rank. The
yeah. I
only thing
think the
I would
one.
say is who you getting rid of.
Yeah, so yeah, for me, it's obviously like you said, Dunk. He's done the business for me. It's going to be Dunk. But no, I think that's interesting, man. I think that's enough about Chelsea. So for me, this game week, I'm really struggling with the whole squad situation. Now, I'm obviously on the back of my wild card where I used my bench boost, where obviously I created a massive squad for the fixtures. And now it's starting to really sort of give me a bit of a headache in the sense of who I'm going to play and bench. And at the moment, I don't know what you think about this, but I'm actually benching both of my Man City players, um, which is Edison and Gundogan, along with 2 Villa players, Concert and Traore, who have at home to Fulham. Now, I haven't got a bench boost. You do. But what do you think about that? Do you think not playing the likes of a City defender and Gundogan's a little bit too
I
brave?
think there were 7 goals in the last time Leicester and Man City played early in the season, and that was when Man City were going through that really rough start. Um, I understand Man City are all but over the line of winning the Premier League. I understand they're going for the quadruple and they got
Yeah.
big Champions League matches to come.
Yeah.
I don't think Pep's wants to take his foot off the gas when it's not cemented that they've won the Prem. So
Yeah,
having
that's
said
fair
that,
enough.
if
It's
they beat
momentum as well, isn't
Leicester,
it?
yeah, absolutely. Because if Leicester go and beat them,
Hmm.
then all the other teams go around them and say, hang on, this ain't over yet.
Yeah, they got
Maybe
Dortmund as
something
well.
ridiculous will happen.
Dortmund in the Champions League. Haaland obviously on fire. So yeah, it's probably they'd obviously obviously encourage it,
I've got
wouldn't it,
one
with
answer
Dortmund?
to how
So
I feel about you benching your City assets is I've got De Bruyne, Gundo, and Cancelo all starting in my team.
wow, that's really interesting. So yeah, obviously I think we obviously split opinions there because I don't know if you have my team there, but when I say I genuinely can't fit them in, I I actually I actually mean it in the most polite way. Um, so yeah, that was my team. Now obviously I'm bringing in the three that are on my bench. There, the three that are getting benched would be Konsa, Traore, and obviously Gundogan. So yeah, I mean it's very hard because you've got the likes of Digne home to Palace. I mean, what a perfect game that is. You've got Dallas at home to Sheffield United. You've got Shaw, who they got home to Brighton, and then obviously I'm bringing in Rudiger. So that's my four at the back. I'm also playing Martinez at home to Fulham. Again, that probably is the one where you could probably flip flop between Edison, but I still fancy Martinez. I don't know. I also think it's also a personal opinion that I actually think Leicester might get a result, or I think they're absolutely class, Leicester. I love watching them play. They're probably the most exciting team, bar Man City, to watch. Um, and then obviously, yeah, I've got the Son and Kane against Newcastle. The three Leeds boys, like I've just said about Dallas, I've got Sheffield United at home, so I've got to play Rafinha and Bamford. And then yeah, Calvert-Lewin's got same as obviously Digne, which is what was it, home to Palace. So I'm really stuck there, mate, and it could come to bite me. But if I'm looking at obviously getting up in the mini league, I am 15th. A lot of people will have a Man City defender. A lot of people do have Gundogan. I feel this is the sort of time to play my sort of players that not many people have. So
I mean,
that's where
I
I'm
can
standing.
understand your logic behind it. I think it's dangerous not playing Gundogan. He's looked good in the international. I mean, Werner, he could have had another assist to Werner.
Yeah, he scored the pen, didn't he, as
Um,
well? So
I think if City win the league at this point and it was to stop, I think Gundogan's player of the season. Um,
oh,
I
it's a big statement. Does
it,
it have to be a player from the winning team?
no, but it always holds a weighting, doesn't it? You're not going to have a player, from someone who's getting relegated, for example, even if they play amazing. It's just the
No,
way it is.
true, true.
The whole De Bruyne Henderson debate last season, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I know what you're saying. But
you got
Kane, I mean, for me,
it has a weighting. It has a weighting.
Kane's
Huh?
been involved in 30 league goals now, assists and goals, and I just think it's what 9 games left, and
Don't get me wrong, Kane's having one of his best seasons under Tottenham, but are Tottenham having one of their best seasons with Kane in? I don't know. Like I say, it's one of the things you consider
it's
when
an
you're
individual award, though, isn't
top.
it?
Pardon?
It's an individual award, I think, so it should go about down to the
I know
player. Like,
it's a team game at the end of the day. I don't know.
wow,
It's a hard one because I feel mixed about it because when Liverpool won it, I think KDB was the best player in the Prem. So
yeah. And didn't Salah get it when he got 32 goals and the Man City won the league? So
yeah, I mean, you equal the Prem total record or you beat it by one or whatever it was at the time, then you should be player of the season, like hands
yeah,
down. Like you've done it.
I just think Gundogan's only been good after Christmas, though. To be honest with you, where was he before Christmas?
Mate, I think City were poor at the start.
Yeah,
When City got better, he was like a huge clog in that machine, and he was doing things that no one expected. He was like 5 on million. Do you know what I mean? And no one had it.
yeah, I know.
And now he's in everyone's team. So that I think that
Yeah.
says a lot.
Crazy. On that blank game week, I remember when we both played it. We both had Gundogan. I remember saying to you how ballsy it felt going Gundogan.
Mm,
And it was like no one had him. Obviously, he blanked and then he went on that ridiculous run.
yeah,
But I don't know, maybe, yeah, you have a point. I mean, he's been absolutely ridiculous since probably January to now. And I think he's going to keep on continuing,
yeah.
obviously, his good form, hopefully just not this game week. So, but yeah, I've got, I mean, yeah, if I had a bench boost, it would be brilliant.
If you look at that though, if you look at that, take that off the cusp. They've got Leicester away, Leeds at home, Villa at home. They win all those three games, they win the league. Then they concentrate on resting players.
Yeah,
Do you know
yeah,
what I mean?
true.
It's one of them ones. I think don't take your foot off the gas yet until you've done it. Gundogan's one of their best players this season. You've got a benching headache. I'm going to combat that by playing bench boost. I feel because I don't want to have your problem.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then that's what I'm saying. If I did have my bench boost, it probably would have been a time to do it. But this is the problem we've got because Gundogan's almost acting like a premium player at the price he is. There's so much money in my bench where I've spread it around. And like my worst player is, for example, Konsa or Traore. All right, Traore's bad, but from the beginning of the season, when you have the likes of Mitchell, you have the likes of Dale Stevens for Burnley, and you're always packing them premiums. The premiums, I mean, how many have I got in my team? I've probably got Bruno, Kane, all right, and Son, if he call Son a
You'd
premium.
probably call Edison now a premium because he's a
I
premium.
mean, sorry, I mean by price. Yeah, by
Yeah,
price. Though, like, yeah, for obviously his position, he is premium. Yeah, sorry, but
yeah.
he doesn't break the bank, does he?
No,
Like,
I know what you're
you're not
saying. And
stocking
the
like
thing is, if
Salah,
Gundogan was
KDBs.
11 mil, you'd be starting him against Leicester, wouldn't you? You'd be
Mm.
scared of dropping him.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is the thing, and that's why I've got. It's quite the psychology of the price of a player. I think is massive. I mean, if it was Sterling on my bench, I'd probably play him, even though he's out of form.
Yeah.
I think Gundogan's a much better player at the moment, but it's the price that's put me off. Because I'm
I
still
think
looking at
more the
Gundogan being
issue,
that 5.5 mil player.
what's made it really hard for you is if if Spurs are playing a team worse than better than Newcastle, like far better than Newcastle, because it takes a lot to be worse than Newcastle at the moment.
Yeah.
Son would probably be on your bench because you wouldn't want to take that risk because he's only going to play 30, 40 minutes and you'd
Mm.
probably play Gundo. But because they're playing probably one of the worst teams that actually turn up to play football, you find it
Yeah.
really hard to drop him.
What about this then? Why don't I keep Dunk, transfer out Martinez for Mendy, and then play Gundo? I've got the Chelsea defence. If you look at Villa's fixtures, I don't think they're that great. Go on to Villa, go on Martinez. See, they got after this game, they've got Liverpool and Man City. All right, West Brom. But after that, mate, I mean, they've only got they got double game week coming up. But again, that could be in the mix of God, they still got to play Everton twice. That could be Everton against imagine that, Everton in the same game week, home and away.
Well, I look at it this way. I agree with you because I don't
Do you
think
see what I'm saying?
the probability of Martinez carrying on at the rate he has done, it ain't gonna happen. There's always a
Hmm.
drop off, and if you jump off of a player, it's just like when you jump on a player before they hit that real good form. You also need
Yeah.
to jump off players before they've hit the peak and they're just going down, 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 down. And you look at those fixtures. All right, Fulham. Now Fulham aren't a bad team. They might keep a clean sheet. They might not. But other than
Hmm.
that, West Brom,
Yeah.
Palace away, possibly. The
Yeah.
Palace could be fighting.
Yeah. The only thing is with Martinez and Edison, which I've analysed, is that obviously I looked at this game for Martinez, absolute pucker against Fulham, which actually probably isn't, because I think Fulham are fighting for their life and they're probably going to stay up. Then I've got obviously the two, Liverpool, Man City. So obviously I'd play Edison then, and then in 33 when Man City blank, he's at home to West Brom. So I am quite secure in the
Yeah,
sense of
but then Mendy's at home to Brighton now, isn't he?
well, yeah, I haven't seen that, but that's why it's a point. So maybe I may as well just do that and play Gundo. And I'm
And
getting a
you
clean
carry
sheet
the one
for,
free transfer over as well.
yeah, maybe that's the way we go.
Not
Who
a
knows?
bad perspective. Didn't think of it before. Could be
And
interesting.
Mendy is going to play every game. And, you know, if anything happens and he starts playing Christensen and Zuma, then, you know, then there's going to be problems. But I think Mendy will play every minute. But no, it's interesting, mate. So moving on then, obviously there's massive games coming up on Saturday. What's your thoughts then on the big games? There's obviously quite a big fixture swing as well for the likes of Arsenal, Wolves.
For sure.
You know, where do you sit with that? So,
Well, this is the old fixture website, which is what I quite like at the moment. They get the old. I know you're not big on it. The old average goals scored and conceded per match in the expectations. But look at the top of it. What Wolves, mate? Wolves. Hard game against West Ham. I'd probably expect it not to be a high scoring game. Although I called not below 0.2 on our last flutter on those both Sunday games, and that didn't happen.
I
Especially,
don't even remember what we done. So
let's just go skim over that. Anyhow, but you look at that, you think I spoke about to you about Neto before. I think he's a top player. I think he's got a really bright future ahead of him.
Mm.
I think he's better than Jota, and I think Jota's a good player, and he surprised me when he had been fit
Wow.
at Liverpool. And after the West Ham game, he goes Fulham, Sheffield United, Burnley, West Ham, Brighton. Um,
That Fulham away game is quite tough, though, mate, for Wolves. That Fulham could turn over Wolves.
well,
Like,
you know what I'm saying
on
is,
paper, it looks all right,
I'm
but
not rushing to get him by any means. But I'm
yeah,
thinking, why
the other three
Sheffield
look good.
United? I might want him if he does all right against Fulham and West Ham. He's going to be in your team. So you've got
Yeah,
two
yeah, of
game weeks
course.
to eye him up, and then he goes Sheffield United at home, Burnley at home, West Brom away, Brighton. I think
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You get a nice little sort of 14-day policy. Do I want you? Do I not? I'll have a little look. I can take you
yeah,
back, sort of thing. So yeah, and then
yeah.
you've got Arsenal as well. So
So yeah, Jota looks quite good. Not, I think he'd probably be my only player. Sorry, Jota. Neto probably be my only player. Wolves, maybe Connor. Maybe what about defense? When you look at them 5 games after West Ham, like they surely got to keep about 2 or 3 clean sheets, haven't they? So would you touch like a Cody for the, or would you touch more like a Size or
um, I,
Semedo or
I would, mate, if you're getting rid of someone that has the opposite to, their fixture swing goes negative. And I'm just
yeah,
scrolling down here because I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm scrolling down. If you had for example, if you still had a Brighton defender, I wouldn't want to be
yeah,
involved in any of that you can see on screen.
yeah,
And also, if you look at Leeds, after Sheffield United, they go Man City, Liverpool, Man United. So can you
yeah,
take out your Dallas for a Wolves defender? That might
yeah. I
be
like that.
the
I'm not
way to
seeing
go.
that. I'm not seeing that, but yeah, no, I think that's actually an option for me. So yeah, definitely. I mean, Dallas is looking brilliant at the moment. I mean, for this game week, but after that, you've got 3 dead runners. So it's a little bit because it's all right, getting rid of all these players and everything. But my problem is in game week 33, we've got Spurs and Man City that blank. So we're going to have 4 players, well, me speaking personally, Son, Kane, Gundogan, and Edison that aren't going to play. Now, you know, is have we got the squads ready for that? Because are we going to be too short-sighted and take players out for the short term that are playing in 33? Like the likes of Dunk, but he's got a good game in 33. Um, and then end up having to take hits to get 11 players. Now, I think that could be a trap.
I think if you're in a position where you've got 2, 3 transfers now, and you only use one, and you can just keep rolling that second transfer, then I would chop and change because it's 3 game weeks,
Mm,
and teams like Chelsea have 3 really solid games.
yeah,
I wouldn't want to be looking at a game where Brighton might get a clean sheet,
yeah,
or 3 games before where you got your ignoring players because they have got 3 good fixtures. And if I look at that now, that game week 33, it might be a blank game week, but it's not a game week 29 blank game week.
no, of course not.
You know,
You can get 11 players there. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think to be honest with you, yeah, there's no one else who actually misses the game apart from Chelsea. Sorry, Man City. Is it Fulham, Man City, Spurs, and I think there's obviously one more team. So I think it's Southampton. It looks
I
like,
think
yeah,
the issue you've
Southampton.
got there is even though you might be able to field 11 players, a lot of those players could be playing against each other. Like you might have 2 Everton going
Yeah,
against an Arsenal player. You might have
yeah,
Chelsea
yeah,
players
yeah.
going against West Ham,
Yeah,
Leeds
you can have
against United,
3.
for
Yeah,
example.
I would have 5 lead. Yeah, 3 leads. Sorry, against um, yeah, 2 Man United. That's interesting. Oh, look at that Villa game against West Brom. I know that's a derby, but
That Leicester game looks naughty as well, doesn't it? At home on the Monday.
that does look naughty. That does look naughty, and I totally agree. And
Scrubs Vardy to me, doesn't it?
Shouts his strike force partner at the minute. To me, I think he's absolutely great value. I wouldn't touch Vardy at the minute.
And
Obviously, I do think, but I think for Ichinacho, 5.5 million or 5.8, I think he is. His time will come, and I think Leicester actually have a good run of games. They're out of Europe now. Obviously, they're in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, but yeah, there's a lot of teams that I think if people hop on them, then I think they can really click. It's just obviously who,
so
because
I'll ask you a question then. Who then have you got your eye on, or who's in your sort of your vision that
Yeah,
might enter your team
I've
in
got a
this
few.
next couple?
I've got a few, but like you said, with the two transfers, I think you were in a really good position just to tick along. Like this game week, the objective is Chelsea defender for me, and let's just keep it simple. Get the 6 points, get the captaincy right is another big thing, and move on. But having a brief look before the pod at the fixtures, for me, I've got a bit of a dilemma because I actually really think Arsenal have got good games. I think we've already seen that. So I think if I was to touch Arsenal, I don't know about Lacazette because of the fact of the three positions in defence, attack, but I really like Tierney at the minute. I might go Tierney. He's got 3 assists for Scotland in the international break, and I think he just looks brilliant going forward. So for Arsenal, Tierney. Wolves, like we said, Neto. My opinion with actually Liverpool, they've also got quite good games in the run-in, is Jota or do I go Salah? Yeah, if you want to have a look,
Just have a little look
and
at
you'll
them.
see where I'm coming from.
My head,
I'm not just plucking this out. Oh, see, they're miles at the top, mate.
they're at the top, yeah.
They need to start coming good, Liverpool. So I think after the Arsenal game, in fact, you could start to look at them. All right, yeah, they got Man United away, always tough. But for the next 4, I even think their games 36, 37, 38 are actually just as good. If you want to click on one of your Liverpool players, you probably see all of them. And then, yeah, so who else? For, like I said, Leicester, Iheanacho, I think probably could be coming in. I think he does keep his place with Barnes out. And yeah, I mean, Mount maybe, but I really just don't know who I want for Chelsea in the attack because I think anybody can score. And that's about it, really. Yeah, I think there's quite a few players, but like I said, it's gonna be like a continuous little chop and change each week, mate.
I definitely would agree with some of those names there. I think, like I've already said, with Wolves, you could look at see how they play, how they line up against West Ham and Fulham, and look at your Netos, maybe even a defender like you mentioned. I don't see anything past that. I think Neto definitely is on my top of eye test list. Defender's probably stretching it. I don't know if I'm too.
Yeah, Wolves just don't look so. They just have with no Jimenez. They just look so flat, don't they? And the only spark they got is Neto. And can he carry that team to like? You feel like if they do win, they're going to win like 1-0, and it's going to
If
be
that other striker they got, if he goes and gets a goal against West Ham or Fulham, he would be an interesting shout for
yeah.
that
He's
good
just
run
like
of games
that.
because
William
players do
Jose.
get a bit of form, don't they? Can't remember his
Yeah.
name. It's not Fabio Silva, it's the other one. Jose something maybe.
Oh yeah.
Arsenal,
William Jose or something.
yeah, William, that good shout. And Arsenal, just Arsenal at the moment, aren't they? Like they
Unpredictable.
unpredictable, not just their result, but their team. So I
Yeah.
had Saka for a while, and I'm quite happy in a way that I got rid of him, just because he's always the player that seems to, I don't know, maybe he gets to the front of the club queue, but then he doesn't get let past the bouncer. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think is yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
He's
Liverpool,
definitely the first one to be smashed on a night out, isn't he, Saka?
yeah, and he'll probably busting all those dance moves at the beginning, looking cool, and then he's in the corner
He's
eating
gone.
bread, and he's eating the bread. But I think Jota is an interesting one to keep an eye on. Firmino looks like he could be back from a slight knock. So for me, and also Mount, I think I've got to keep an eye on Mount. He played well in the England games. Every pundit seems to rave about him, and I think he's yet to convince fans why pundits rave about him, which is I think really interesting because normally it's the fans that get carried away with a player and then the pundits sort of reel it in. But with Mount, it's like he's so good, and everyone that's Chelsea fans like, well, how good is he? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I know he's good, but I don't actually. It doesn't excite me, apart from like a Grealish does. Do you know what I mean? So I think I need to, like we said, watch the game on Saturday, and then you've got the perfect game to sort of show what he's about.
So then let's go on to probably the biggest headache of the pod in the game week, and that is captain. Who is your mind on now for captain?
Right. Well, at the moment, it's on Kane. purely just because I think he is actually the best player in fantasy at the minute. I know he obviously blanked against Arsenal, but he got the 2 goals, 2 assists against Palace. Burnley before that, I think he scored a brace. Or he might have scored 1. But yeah, he obviously scored against Villa. For me, it's Kane at the minute. Bruno is also on the radar, but with all these injuries for Man United, I don't know how much or how well they're going to play. Brighton have actually looked pretty sharp at the back. But yeah, for Man United, obviously they got Martial, Rashford, Greenwood looking doubtful. So that's really interesting. And it's probably between them two, really. I wouldn't put you off if you were to be a chaser like myself, actually. Should be looking at maybe captaining Rafinha. Even if you wanted to take a punt, Digne, Dallas. There's loads of captaincy picks, mate, to be honest with you, but I'll probably be boring and do Kane. What about you?
I think you've listed everyone there that is probably on the list of who to captain. Um,
For my squad anyway, so I don't know. There's not one. There's who would you captain? Let's say who I haven't got. Looking at that, I really don't know. I mean,
I don't even think, yeah, I don't even think there is.
A Chelsea attacker maybe. Like Mount is a bit ballsy, but again, he could do a lot of damage against West Brom. You wouldn't really want to captain anybody in the Leicester, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool game, and then yeah, I think you can't really touch anyone else down there
I
apart from
think
Kane
most people who own
or
Kane
Bruno.
will be looking at Captain Kane. Um,
Newcastle just are so bad, don't they? Like they're just all over the place from top to bottom, and
I would say though, I think I think a really good captain option could be Bruno Fernandes. Now, I said to you earlier before we start recording that the thing about Brighton is that although they're not the strongest of teams, they like playing football and they can play football, so they can frustrate teams. But and you updated me about the injuries United are facing at the moment, and it just seems to me that they could go out there. They might put Cavani at top. They might sit Bruno sort of just sitting off the striker. They've got Pogba, lowering a bit deeper, pumping balls. And if they're doing that, for me, their points are only coming from sort of one avenue. So I think what's really interesting with the psychology of FPL, especially the way I pick a captain, is I do like to pick a player that's playing later in the game week. Because you just think, if everyone else's captain's failed, or you're having a good game week, and you think I've still got my captain to come, I think it's pivotal. Like for example, I think if that Chelsea West Brom game was on the Monday night, I think we'd be talking about a Chelsea captain more than we are because it's the Saturday early kickoff.
yeah, I totally agree.
But me, Bruno's the one that rivals Kane.
Yeah, Rafinha, you've got a bit of love for Rafinha. You're not thinking about him against the worst team in the league.
I like the fact that
Yorkshire
he
derby.
scored a lot of goals, Leeds. It's one of them. I could I pick a Leeds player over Harry Kane? I'm not sure, but could I pick Bruno Fernandes over Kane? Quite possibly.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair enough. I do think it's a tough captaincy this week. And yeah, no, I think we've pretty much touched all the points, mate. I don't know if you have anything in mind for the flutter. If you want to quickly get the old Bet365 up on your
the dog
dog and bone
coming up with the Bet365 app now. Upgraded the broadband now. We're on the 80 megs, so
lightning.
He says that he'll probably still buffer in a sec. Here we go. Bear with me. Who are you thinking?
Right, I'm thinking let's do Saturday because I think this is where most of everyone's opinions will be. And I fancy the 2 home teams to win in the early game.
Do you know what? Surprisingly, Leeds are 2-1 on, which I think is a great price.
Yeah, that is 1.5.
So the double there, James, would be 0.79, so just shy of evens.
I think that's a great bet. What, Chelsea Leeds double?
Yeah.
Oh, that's me done.
Yeah.
I'm not going to comment on the late games because anything can happen.
Take your 79 profit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what my 2 late game punts would be Iheanacho to score against his old club and Jota and Lacazette to score anytime in the Arsenal Leicester game, because I always that's the fixture with the most goals in the Prem. Arsenal, Liverpool. I think Lacazette, he scored in his last 3 times he's played against Liverpool. Yotta's the best player for Liverpool at the moment, and Iheanacho's on fire.
Well,
there
cat
we go.
amongst the pigeons, mate. I'm gonna have to. I'll call Tottenham to win, mate, because they're 4-7 on. So I think that's a great price as well.
Jesus.
And if you added United, who are 8,
that is a great price.
The fourfold would get you 3.56 to 1. So
added who? Sorry.
Add United on to beat Brighton. So you could have United, you could have Tottenham, you could have Leeds and Chelsea. Fourfold at 3.56.
Boom.
Done.
Get on.
Get your Indian takeaway with your profit. Have a bottle of Stella before they all go down to 4.6. Which, by the way, Stella, if you're listening, is an absolute travesty. I expect.
Why is that? How much percent?
They're going down, aren't they?
How much percent are Stella?
I've got a 4.6 Stella now. It was 4.8 back when I was a lot more youthful than I am. I probably sound like a twat saying that, but they were 5.2. So they're only going down, a bit like Newcastle. But the difference is, Stella, your prices aren't going down. And on that note, we're not another FPL podcast. Wish you all the best of the game week. It's goodbye from me.
It's a good night from me.